I'd like to follow by introducing Carol Prunhuber. I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing it wrong probably. Is a journalist who was born in Caracas, Venezuela, and pursued studies at the Paris University.
So the recent waves of protests in the Middle East is reminiscent of the successive Kurdish rebellions in Iran throughout the 20th century. In 1985, I visited Kurdistan to film a documentary on the struggle against the Iranian regime. For decades, the Kurds have paid a heavy price. The essence of Kurdish identity has been under constant attack, not only in Iran, but also in other countries where they live. Today, many of the Kurdish bases have been moved to the heart of Iraqi Kurdistan. I visited these bases in recent years, and the fear of reprisal and attack by the Pasdaran, the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, still resonate in the activists there. One outstanding leader that I met during my journalistic career was Abdul Rahman Ghasemlu, Secretary General of the PDKI. His message was direct and simple: democracy for Iran, autonomy for Kurdistan. He successfully mobilized the resistance against a powerful regime. Early on, he understood that the mullahs would hijack the revolution and turn it into a clerical dictatorship. Under the iron grip of the Ayatollahs, there could be no democratic progress in the country. Even though Ghasemlu's party was forced to lead an armed struggle against Iran, the PDKI was perhaps the only third world revolutionary movement that was opposed to any terrorist actions that could threaten the lives and security of civilians. Ghasemlu believed that the resolution of the Kurdish issue in Iran could not be achieved through violence. His determination to peacefully solve this political miasma became his undoing. He himself fell into the trap of the Iranian regime when Tehran sent terrorists to Vienna in 1989, and he was murdered while sitting at the negotiation table. Tellingly, in August of 1979, Khomeini condemned Ghasemlu on nationwide TV. He banned the KDPI as the party of Satan, corrupt, and the agent of foreigners. His fatwa had been issued. It took 10 years for the regime to execute it. The Iranian culprits of Ghasemlu's murder were identified. 2 of them were detained. The Austrian authorities feared reprisal from the Iranian regime. Also, there were commercial involvements between the 2 countries. And in the end, the Austrian officials freed the emissaries. 22 years later, no one has been brought to justice for the murder. Neither have the Austrian authorities released the evidence. A second Kurdish leader, Ghasemlu's successor, Sadegh Sharafkandi, was also murdered with 3 associates at the Mykonos restaurant in Berlin 3 years later. This time, the General Federal Prosecutor went ahead with an investigation, and German intelligence agencies were forced to open up their classified files. The Mykonos trial revealed that the Islamic Republic of Iran had led a ferocious state-sponsored campaign of political assassinations abroad. From 1979 to 1992, high-level Iranian officials were linked to 162 extrajudicial killings of key political opponents around the globe, especially in European cities. With a discreet tolerance of the respective governments, no justice was served. Many had commercial interests in Iran. This is another prime example of the rights of Iranian citizens being sidelined. The German judiciary resolute decision to fight terrorism and punish the culprits is an example to the world. It is also true that those detained who received life sentences in Berlin were released 15 years later, suggesting a secret deal between Berlin and Tehran. This is the crucial point here. Had Europe and the world spoken against the earlier crimes of political dissidents, Iran's terror machine may not have developed as it has in the years following the revolution. This trial became the first sign that oppressed Iranians were not dispensable and that justice would be rendered. Back to Ghasemlu for a moment. He had developed close ties and relations with politicians, journalists, and academics in Europe. The lobby he extended to the United States was about to bear fruit. Ghasemlu received an invitation from members of Senate and the House of Representatives to meet with them in August 1989. 1 month prior to this trip, he was killed. Today, the USA and the world have been focusing primarily on the nuclear threat that Iran poses. Human rights of the Iranians have fallen to the wayside. Surely, the people of Iran deserve international support to topple this regime, bringing peace to the Iranian people and this resource-rich and political viable region. If nothing else captures the attention of the international community, the vast reserves of oil, water, and gas in the area should do just that. Meanwhile, the lives of millions of Kurds and Iranians hang in the balance. Thank you.